Can you tell me, at the beginning of the season, uh, Kadri wanted to be, more of a complete player, that this could be his year, that he emerges. What have you seen from him so far this year?
Again, I've always asked about individual players, and when you only have a sample of 6 games, it's real difficult to do a whole assessment. I would say Nazi's got areas in which he can improve on, as always. I think he's a young player that has to play a little bit more of a north-south game versus an east-west game, but his skills do allow him to create time and space by himself, so you can't take that away from him. And he's a tremendously confident young man.
What does that confidence do for him? How does that
Well,
carry him?
to me, that's part of a strength. It's not that. I think it's a strength that when things aren't going the way he would like it to go, or he has the ability to make a difference because he believes in his skill set, he believes in his abilities, and he believes that he has the necessary things to make something happen. So I think it's a positive.
Was Saturday night the type of effort that you want to see and that you liked?
Yeah, well, we liked the effort much. We were a much different hockey club on Saturday than we were Friday, and again, why? That's what you're always banging your head against the wall, is why were we not that type of energetic, tenacious, on the puck type of team? And that's the question that we put to our players, and we put that to ourselves as a coaching staff.
The league announced today that Slava Voinov is suspended indefinitely because of a domestic violence issue. I guess in light of what's happening in the NFL, do you think it's important that the league acts swiftly in situations like that?
Obviously, those are things that are dealt with at that level, and I think it's a common trend in pro sports that there is going to be a action taken for those types of matters, and we leave that totally up to the league, and the league has been quick to make their statement that it won't be tolerated.
When you look at Friday's effort, from going back to the well again on Northam, but he was up against the Zetterberg line, and Zetterberg's, that's a tough guy to cover. He didn't necessarily have his best game against that line. Is that something that you need to see growth in?
Well, maybe the coach shouldn't have put him out there so many times. That's one of the things you look back on. You say, geez, I should have read that differently. And when things are going on like that in the game, that's part of the responsibility of us as a staff to not allow that to continue. And we did recognize it, and what you try to do in some situations is you try to motivate the player and say, hey, this is what's going on. If it doesn't change, you challenge the player to making it change. But I would say that in that instance, we didn't do enough early enough.
He brought something interesting up, that because of the age of the film, that a lot of people can see tendencies, especially in the face-off circle, and that's he didn't have his best weekend in the face-off circle. How can you hide what you want to do and still be successful? You can't, can you today?
Well, again, we have face-off meetings, and we have ample supply of footage on what the opposition likes to do, and sometimes it comes down to brute strength, and there is a lot of technique involved in it, but again, it's not just the center's responsibility. There are responsibilities of your wingers to help you. If you're in a tie-up situation, you're having a tough night, you send your one winger a cheat to come in and to help you. Maybe you want to take the stick and use your feet. Couple different ways of trying to swing things to your advantage, and again, it seems that the best face-off guys are the best cheaters.
Randy, working on a story kind of on the history of the Maple Leaf jersey. Do you recall the pride you felt when you put on the Maple Leaf when you were after the draft, and perhaps also talk about the pride that this current team has for that jersey?
Well, the first thing you have to remember, I was cutting my grass in my backyard in Zilda, Ontario, when I found out that I was getting drafted. There was no draft party. Drafts were taking place at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel in Montreal, and you got a phone call that you were drafted. So it was quite different than what things are today. And as far as putting on the jersey, it's the team that you grow up, specifically as a Northern Ontario boy. Growing up in Northern Ontario, you were either a Montreal Canadian fan or you were a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. And being from the English portion of Ontario, Obviously, I was a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, so it was a special event in your life and a special opportunity, and you don't really recognize how big of an opportunity, how much it does mean to people for you to wear that jersey until after the fact, until you're in the situations later in life. And I try to bring that to our players' attention because it is an honor and it is a very, very distinguished position that you're in. Not many people get that opportunity to wear that jersey.
Is it a point of disgust or maybe disrespect when you see a fan throw the jersey on the ice?
That
for all
again,
the people
we've
that
answered
play?
that question on the last event, and we said that, you know, that's obviously frustration from an individual, and the fan has an opportunity when he pays for his seat to do what he sees fit, and again, he's frustrated with our performance as we were.
What is Brandon Cozen's situation, if you're able to tell us at this point, Randy?
Cozy's got a high ankle sprain, so he will be lost to our hockey club for a minimum of 6 weeks. So it's one of those where high ankle sprains are a touchy one where it's difficult to put a definitive timetable on it, but usually they're at least 6 weeks depending on how quickly he heals.
Do you have an update on David Booth at all?
David Booth is in a walking boot now. He's off crutches. I think he was up tonight shooting, or this afternoon, or this morning, whatever time it is now. He was shooting in the shooting gallery there, so he's starting to make his way back inch by inch. He spent a lot of time in the weight room, and he is here on a daily basis.
That grind line that you have with Clarkson, Komarov, and Sandrell, what does that allow you to do when they can kind of cycle the puck and really keep a team in the offensive zone?
Well, what they've done is that group has created more 5-on-5 scoring chances than any other line on our hockey club right now, and it's showing up on the score sheet, and it's showing up on the video when you do your analysis that they're decided that they've got a style to play to, and that's been their trademark, is finding a way to keep the opposition in their zone and thus not playing too much defensive hockey. And that's one of the things that are a trait that we'd like all of our group to follow.
Seems like Clarkson's really found a home on that line as well, and a real nice fit, maybe something he was searching for.
Yeah, again, with Clarkie, you know, we all know about last year, and that wasn't one of his greatest seasons in the league, and we felt that we had to provide him with a reset opportunity, and that's what we're trying to do. And I think a lot of it has to do with he feels a lot better about his game, and he's getting power play time now, where last year he didn't get any to start with specifically because he was out, and then he was out with a suspension, and then he was out with injuries, and we had a power play that was cooking along pretty good at that time.
Speed is obviously the biggest thing, but what do you lose with Cozen out?
We lose a speed guy that has made a contribution on the penalty killing. So now we're going to have to look to some other people to take those minutes, and you know, we've talked to Holland about making that part of his everyday contribution, is that he's an offensive player, or historically has been, but we're going to ask him, he's going to have to be a mainstay and be one of our go-to guys in penalty killing.